And I'm also giving thanks to my spiritual father, Kinish Hanab Bakal. I am here to do your work, and I thank you for your continued energetic blessings and support. Greetings, dear soul. I am Crispy. I am another you, and you are another me. We are one God-sciousness. Today I'm here to talk to you about compatibilities. Different degrees of compatibilities within the Divine Mayan Tzolk calendar perspective, which came from the Pleiades. So what I'm telling you is a Pleiadian perspective on human interrelationships. Now, if you know the Mayan calendar, you know there are 260 possible days on which to be born. Each one of them is different. And what that boils down to is 20 Naguales, or glyphs, images, and 13 Tonal, tones, numbers. We say tones because it refers to vibration and frequency and tones like this. So each one of those tones modifies each one of the glyphs, you could say. That's the easiest way to think about it, tones and glyphs. So everybody is one of the notes of the scale, and that note modifies the glyph, as it were. And so to boil it down, there's not 260 different types of people. There's only 20 of the glyphs. And there's a different kind of 13 of the tones. But even more simple than that, there are 4 types of people because of the 4 colors. So the colors, each color, red, white, blue, yellow, you could also say black. It's not actually black and it's not actually blue, it's both of those. Red, white, black, yellow, red, white, blue, yellow. That's the order in which they flow. Each of those colors represents 5 other things. So red, being the first glyph, represents, here's the 5 other things: time of day, season, direction, element, there's the 4 elements, and body, the 4 bodies. So the red glyph represents sunrise as a time of day. There's also noon, sunset, and midnight, right? And it's the season of spring. Sunrise, the spring, you can feel the similar energy there. Direction, of course, east. Where else does the sun rise from, right? Okay, 4 directions. And the element of earth, all right? Red, earth, the soil, the rich soil, the iron from which our blood becomes red. And the last one being the physical body. So all of the people who are born on a red glyph have those categories, similar characteristics. And here are the others. Now, the fascinating thing about the Pleiadian Mayan calendar is it actually is recursive, as in precessional, because it goes red, white, blue, yellow. So that's spring, winter, autumn, summer. Wrap your head around that. As it's going forward, it's going backwards. Isn't that cool? Let's leave that aside for now. What we need to talk about is compatibilities. Now, because, for example, blue people have red as their divine feminine and divine masculine, all red and all blue people have a special relationship. This is a relationship that I call balancing and supporting. That's the exact same as all North and South people, all winter and summer people, okay? All of the spiritual body and the thinking body people, all right, have that same directional relationship. Oh, I should also mention that if you are born on a blue glyph like myself, to all other blue glyphs, we call this relationship mirroring and friendly. Now, as you may know, sometimes mirroring is not so smooth a relationship. It can be very smooth, depending on what's in the mirror, right? If you've done your work or not. And I need to say this, there are no bad combinations, all right? There's no bad days, there's no unlucky days. That's complete bullshit. That's complete drama queen fantasy bullshit. Every day can be a super high powered positive day. And some relationships are easier than others. So all of the same colored relationships is more like family, familial, okay? Which again, some families, right? The harmony, right, is fantastic, okay? Then you've got your balancing and supporting from those two directions that are across the wheels from each other. So those are the easiest, I would say, the most natural, as it were. Same color, and then the opposite directions, okay? Now we start to get into the fun categories. When we go from the physical body into the next day, from red into white, okay? From east into north, from earth into air. Now, I do use some images to help show this type of relationship. And it can be wonderfully mysterious, and it can be kind of confusing, all right? A lot of times people who are very spiritually based just don't come down to earth to connect with the more physically based people, all right? It's that simple. Now, in a moment I will explain the tonals, and that adds another layer, which is equally crucial and important. But just for now, we'll focus on the colors. Now, the next move is from red into white and white into blue. Red, white, blue, yellow, red, white, blue, yellow, red, white, blue, yellow, infinity. White being spiritually based, midnight, north, winter, air element, goes into blue or black if you like, fall or autumn, the west, sunsets, the emotional body. Now, these two are quite similar in a way because they tend to take up the shape of the container into which they're poured, as it were, at least water. Very fluid, emotional, and air goes into whatever room or circles the globe. And when you look down, what do you see? Oceans everywhere. Planet Ocean might be a better name for us, really. So this relationship between the air and the water, here are some images that you can think about when you're processing this. And you can see that it could be very inspiring and also quite challenging, right? Then we've got water going into fire. We've got autumn going into summer. Again, the Mayan Pleiadian system unwinds time as it goes forward. So you just have to wrap your head around that, my friends. It is truly galactivating to grok this system. Now, going from a wet and watery world of emotions into a fiery world of thoughts has that same type of relationship, which could be very mysterious. Like if you're a very emotional person and you're connecting with a person who's very thought-oriented, it's very mysterious and can be confusing, right? So then if we go into the fiery mind perspective and then go into the earth perspective, we can picture these images as maybe helping. And again, we have the two categories of inspiring and challenging. So as far as the same colors, everyone is mirroring and friendly. And as the two opposite directions, we have balancing and supporting. And then there's two other types of relationships, mysterious and confusing, and inspiring and challenging. So that's the basics of how the colored glyphs all fit together. There are some exceptions to the rules, and that is if two glyphs are right next to each other. Because, for example, the jaguar shaman being white and wintry and spiritually oriented is right next to the eagle. So air and water might be peculiar, but because these two are right next to each other, they could quite possibly overcome any wavy, windy differences. And the same with the other direction with corn, right? So when any two glyphs are next to each other, I believe there is a more powerful connection than the general charts would show. Okay, so now let's talk about the tonal, the tones. First of all, there are clusters or families. If you are born on tone 1 or tone 6 or tone 11, anyone with that one dot, you have a stronger connection between you than the others. Same with the 2. If you are born tone 2, okay, so what I'm doing is I'm adding 5 and then adding 10. 1, 6, 11, 2, 7, 12. 3 has a strong connection with all people who are tone 8 and tone 13. Those are the 3 basic groups. Then we have the 4 dots who connect with 9 people who are born on tone 9. Hopefully you are understanding the way these all work. Then we have tone 5 people and tone 10 people. All right? So that's the basic connection. There are others, which takes a very long time to explain, which I will gladly, more than gladly do for you. It is my duty, my passion. Honestly, it is my mission and my pleasure to help you understand your children, your lovers, your parents, the relationships between everyone. I want you to be able to do this for yourselves. And eventually, anyone will be able to when enough people know and pass on this information. Now we need to talk about a fascinating aspect of the Divine Mayan Tzolk calendar, and I do believe it's the only astrology system that allows you to do this, but combine two people. You can add the position of the tone and glyph and come up with a new entity, as it were. For example, the 5th glyph, the serpent, if you add that with the 6th glyph, which is reincarnation, you get the 11th glyph, which is the monkey. And if you start with a person who is, let's say, tone 3, and you add someone who's tone 8, that's 11. So they would become a resolving monkey. So then what you have is how person A relates to the third entity. Okay? So first of all, what I've just explained to you is how A and B relate to each other. But then when the third entity comes in, you have how does A relate to C? And how does B relate to C with respect to the tones and the glyphs? So it gets super duper fun to look at all of this stuff. Which is my pleasure and my passion. It is my duty and my gift to me to be able to help you understand all of the relationships in your life from a Pleiadian 7 sisters going into your 7th crown chakra perspective. And remember the Mayan mantra, Een Lak'esh alakin, I am, you are God-sciousness. Namaste.